Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker. I was looking at Leslie Ann. She is another YouTuber. She does a number of different videos and lives focusing on those who are over 50, overworked, and just plain over it. They're basically people who are ready to own their own future. Well, one of her subscribers or viewer came on her live and they were a nurse and they basically were saying how they hated their job. They were frustrated, but they didn't really know which way to go. They didn't know how to leave. So what I've done is I compiled a list of alternatives for this particular viewer and anyone else who either is on my channel or not on my channel, who is a nurse and is looking for a way out. Now, let me just say this to you. My cousins and my aunts and a number of my friends are nurses. Me personally, no, I'm not a nurse. I am a real estate investor. Now, all of my family own property, and my friends who are nurses, they own 75 properties. And then I have another friend who owns a number of real estate properties as well. Most of them don't do your typical real estate. And I'm going to get into that in a minute as far as what it is that they do that I'd like to share with you that you might look at as an alternative. All right. So I'm going to begin with the easiest to the hardest. So what I believe is the easiest is to put your money into a healthcare REIT. A REIT is a real estate investment trust. Okay. Now, I can't tell you specifically which one to invest in, but you can go to Yahoo Finance, and I will definitely leave the link so that you can check out. It's only about 17 of them. The reason why I think real estate investment trusts, particularly healthcare real estate investment trusts, is good for people who are nurses or in the medical field is because they have that background knowledge as far as which medical facilities would probably be the most profitable and where they would be the most profitable. All right. With real estate investment trusts, you're basically, it's like, the stock market basically. So you're letting your money work for you. And while you're letting your money work for you, there are other things, of course, that you can invest in. As many of you know, I've done tax liens. Tax liens are not available in all states. Some places you do tax deeds. Some are redeemable deeds. All right. This is a way in which you can buy a property really, really, really cheap. And the thing about it is, for those of you who don't know, when a person, a homeowner, does not pay their property taxes, the government puts a lien on their home. You are able to go, and there's different websites that you can go to, or you could even go to the courthouse or to the county, and you can get yourself a list of, what properties homeowners have not paid taxes on. Where have they been delinquent? You place your bid on it, and it normally goes to the highest bidder. That is, if you're placing the bid on the face value, or the lowest bidder if you're placing the bid on the interest rate. There are some states that will give you 20% interest per month on that tax lien that you bought. And then at the end of that redemption period, if that homeowner does not pay the taxes, you can foreclose and buy that property. Foreclosure costs $2,000 to $5,000. Again, it depends on what state, what county, city, etc. that you're living in. All right. So that's another alternative. That is really more your money working for you. Once you get that house, if you get that house, because sometimes they'll pay before, but if you get that house, you can do whatever you want with it. You can sell it as is, you can fix it up, flip it, you can fix it up and keep it. And I'll give you some other alternative ideas that a lot of other people don't discuss when it comes to real estate as far as what you can do with it. Now, the next thing that's available, before I move on, if you want free information on how to get invested or how to start tax lien investing, number one, your local library may have a book on it. Number two, on Clubhouse, there's a guy named Novell. Every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, he has a tax lien, a tax lien club, and they discuss tax liens from 6 p.m. Central, sometimes 12 o'clock at night. And then he also has an investor club, and he also has a book. The book, I believe, is only $20. The investor club is $300 for life. So you don't pay, like, you know how some clubs you pay every month? Not his club. It's just one set price and that's it. So you decide how you want to go and how you want to educate yourself as far as the proper way to do your research to buy the right tax lien or tax deed or redeemable deed for yourself. All right, the next way is mortgage notes. That's the way I go. Why? Because I don't have to deal with renters, roaches, nor rats. I love it. It's similar to REITs and tax liens because, it's the same thing. The only difference is with mortgage notes, you typically get a higher return and you're more hands-off, especially if it's a performing note. Now, there are some people that love to buy the non-performing notes. That's the people who don't pay. The thing with that is most of the people who buy that, those are the flippers. Those are the people who like to get their hands dirty. But for the rest of us, we buy the performing notes because we don't have to do anything. It's pretty much mailbox money. For those of you who are new and you don't know what mortgage notes are, I'm going to let you know. Banks, after 1 or 2 years, a homeowner will be paying mortgages to the bank. That bank turns around and sells that mortgage note to someone else. I'm one of those someone else's that they sell it to. And so I begin to be the one that collects that mortgage payment. So in many instances, you can say I'm the bank. And anyone can do this. I have a course on it, and I also do consultations as well, just so you know. The next thing that I got into this year is insurance housing. What it is you have people who they either owned a home or they were renting an apartment and a disaster happened. So they either were placed in a shelter or because most of them have money, they'll stay in a hotel. But as you know, hotels are kind of expensive. So they need urgent emergency housing right away. I have an apartment. I have more than one apartment up there in my home. So basically, I rent that out to them. Does it need to be furnished? Yes, but it doesn't need to be fully furnished because sometimes the people may have salvaged some things when they were running, out of the house to escape the fire or apartment building to escape the fire or the flood, right? So really, as long as you have a bed, some lamps, and a couch, you're good to go. You really don't need anything else. And the insurance companies prefer that you don't really have too much of anything else. You can also, of course, have a TV or a radio or, that kind of thing, a table. Oh, that's basically it. You don't need to go all out. They don't really want you to go all out and have it fully furnished. Right now I'm using ALE Solutions. There are other companies out there as well. Okay. The other thing that I wanted to let you guys know is when it comes to furnishing these places, you don't need to spend a lot of money. Okay. You can buy stuff on eBay. You can go to thrift shops. You can even, believe it or not, go to some of these rich neighborhoods on garbage day. Sometimes they are throwing out things that are in excellent condition. There's nothing wrong with that furniture, and they put it out. It's crazy, especially in New York. It's really something else. But yes, you can do that, and that's free. That ain't nothing. You just spray it down, clean it, wash it, and you're good to go. Even if it looks clean, you should still clean it. You should still disinfect it because of the times that we're living in. Another thing that I just found out, if you go to storagetreasures.com, what you do is you bid on a storage unit. Some of these storage units are filled with furniture. I even saw one in my area that had a vending machine in it. Okay, and it was for $200. Now, vending machines don't go for that cheap. But it wasn't just the vending machine. It was the vending machine plus everything else in the storage. Because people do not pay the storage fees. So when they don't pay the storage fees, guess what? Those storage facilities will start auctioning off their stuff, and now they're auctioning it off online. Hello. And that's another business by itself. Okay. All right. Next, travel nursing. As many of you know, I've done travel nursing too. Okay. Again, what I do though, and I do this, also with the insurance, I include the Wi-Fi and utilities so that I can charge more money. Some people have parking, some people have washer and dryer. You can charge more money with that as well. Okay. When it comes to washing and drying, I gave them towels and everything else like that. So I say to them, listen, right here, this is free. But if you want me to wash and everything, you have to pay me. But a lot of times they don't. A lot of times, they take it and they go somewhere else. Okay. If you have a home where it is set up where you have like a extra laundry room for your tenants, you can put in washing machines and dryers that are coin operated. And that's also extra income for you. All right. But across America, the average monthly income for travel housing and also insurance housing is anywhere between $2,000 to $3,500. Some people, of course, make a lot more money. It depends on where the location is, how many, bedrooms and bathrooms is in that particular unit. By the way, if you have, especially with like travel nursing, if let's say you have like a 2-bedroom, you can put one nurse in one room and another nurse in another room and do it that way. I also know a nurse, one of my friends, she actually consulted me before she set up her travel nursing situation. And she doesn't have a whole apartment like I do. She only rents out the room. The bedroom that she rents out has a bathroom with it. She put in a mini fridge and a little microwave in there so that this way they don't even have to go in her kitchen or anything like that. You guys can do the same thing if you want to. It's an alternative. Furnish Finder, just in case you know, there are different travel nurse websites, but Furnish Finder has been the most receptive for me, just letting you know. Now, the next one I haven't done, but I do know people who have senior living homes, which is also called assisted living. These are residential properties. You don't have to buy anything big. It can be 4 to 6 bedroom home. And definitely, with you guys' medical background, it's easy for you guys to set this up than for somebody like me. Plus, you know what paperwork to fill out. And if you decide to hire another nurse to help you out, you know how to go over her paperwork to make sure it's filled out right. So that's why I didn't move forward with the senior living home on my own, because that's what my cousin, who is a nurse, mentioned to me. She was like, you got to be real careful. She does not advise that I do this by myself. Now, I have friends who did approach me recently and said that they wanted to go this route, and they did ask if I would join. So currently, yeah, we are looking at it. They're nurses, so I don't have to worry about, the paperwork and stuff like that. But I will say this also, if you are going to go this route and you're going to buy property, make sure that it is near transportation and also preferably a medical center or a hospital. All right. As a matter of fact, the property that I have in Georgia, there is one right across the street. I'm at the end of Medical Way down there. For more information as far as how to set it up and get started, you have the National Investment Center for Seniors Housing and Care. And you also have the American Seniors Housing Association. Hit them up, see what they have to say. Okay. Next, group homes. Group homes basically provide specialized housing for individuals that need assistance. There's all different types of group homes, by the way, right? You have the battered women, you have the VAs, you have people transitioning from homelessness, and you also have those who have outgrown the adoption agency. I forgot what you call that. Not adoption, but anyway, I know that if a person is at the adoption agency or what have you, when they hit 18, the system in many states just throws them out. There's one state, though, that does allow them to stay until they're 24. 18, I feel, is too young. I mean, I did a story already on Tito Jackson. Yes, he got married at 18. He was a millionaire then, but he didn't move out the house until he was 27. So it's like, how is it that we're kicking out people who have way less money than he did, way less education than he did, way less experience than he did, way less talent than he did, and we expect them to fly? We expect them to swim, right? When he had all of that and he stayed in his family's home. So anyway, you have group homes like that, but you also have group homes for people with developmental disabilities. You have group homes for mental health, and now I'm seeing group homes for people who were trafficked, right? So again, your clinical knowledge, or those of you who were in, let's say, occupational therapy, or your psychology, all of that stuff. This is great for you. And by the way, the monthly revenue is $4,000 to $7,000 per resident, not per house, per resident. So you could have a single family house. It could have 3 to 5 bedrooms or even more, right? Each bedroom, you could put like maybe 2 people in it. I actually took a course where a guy actually put 3 people. He had 3 beds in one room. That's another story. You could put 2, but let's be conservative. Put 2 beds in each room. That's $4,000 to $7,000 per bedroom, right there in a single family house. Okay, guys, so listen, I'm going to let you know, though, it is work. Group home, senior home, it is work. Senior home, I forgot to mention this. You might have to retrofit the home, meaning, and you might have to do the same for group homes too. Again, it depends on who your clients are going to be, who your residents are going to be. For example, if the people are going to have a wheelchair, right, you're going to need a ramp. You're going to need to make the doors wider. You might have to lower the light switches, things like that. Okay, that's what you may need to do with the senior living. And like I said, because paperwork is involved, it's more hands-on. Group home, also, it can be a lot of work and it can be more hands-on. The guy that taught me about group homes, what he does is he assists mostly gay children who were not accepted by their families or who were, bullied severely. They just can't take it anymore. Some of them are on drugs as well. Where you put your group home is very important. It really depends on who it is that you're serving. If you are, for example, doing what he does, right? He actually does not do the medical part. He hires people for the medical part, for the, rehab and what have you. He says when it comes to those homes, it's better to put it in a rural area and not in a city area. Unlike the senior homes, you want to put it in an urban area because it's easy for elderly people to get around. But for the others, it's better to put them in a rural area because it's harder for the drug dealers to track them down. That's number one. And it's also more, I forgot the word, cathartic. I don't know if that's the right word. But it's more of a peaceful environment for them. Plus, he has them do gardening, and there's something about being in the soil and digging in the soil that calms people, that grounds people. And they're able to recover faster when they are in the rural area as opposed to the city. The other thing is the suburban areas. The reason why those are not all that great is because a lot of suburbs don't want people like that in their backyard. So again, when you're thinking about doing a group home, know that it's a lot more active. You're going to be more actively involved than the others that I've mentioned. And you really have to think carefully where it is that you want to put it. Yes, there are group homes for people like that in certain cities and certain areas, but the ones that are in the cities, those people don't recover as well or as fast as the ones that are out in the rural areas, just letting you know. The next thing that nurses would be great for is the medical recovery houses. And that falls under the National Alliance for Recovery Residences. Okay, that's who you want to check out. Now, this one is also short term. It's not long term like the group home or the senior. This one is short term for people who went through post-surgery and they're trying to recover. Sometimes they also hold cancer patients because a lot of times, like depending on whatever it is that the person has, sometimes some people don't have insurance. Some people insurance doesn't cover everything, and their illness is expensive. So they can no longer afford to live in their home anymore, or their apartment. Yet they can't stay in the hospital. So a lot of hospitals, they're desperate and they need other places to put people. So medical recovery housing is definitely a great answer to those of you who are nurses, because you already got the medical knowledge. You already know how to monitor these people. And guess what? You don't get paid monthly. You get paid weekly. $1,200 to $2,000. That's the average in the United States. That's the average. You could make more depending on where you live. I know for a fact, like here, I'm in New York, and the hospitals that are close by, a lot of times they try to get rid of you as quickly as possible because they need their beds. I know that one of the hospitals actually bought an apartment building where they use it, number one, for any medical, like any doctor, scientist, or nurse that comes from another country, that comes from another state. They place them in there, but they place them in there for maybe like 2 years. This is what I was told because I spoke to them. 2 years, and then after 2 years, they kick them out. They got to go. Their lease is not being renewed, even if they pay on time, even if they're good tenants. Okay, because they need them sometimes to house the patients that they have. And even that's getting real tight. That we don't have a lot of, believe it or not, the further up in Manhattan you go, the less hotels there are. So a lot of these hospitals up here, there's no hotel for them to put a patient in. Like the closest hotel would be, let's say, Midtown or Upper West Side, somewhere like that. But that hotel does not let them have the whole hotel. That hotel will only, let's say, let them have a floor, and some of them only get half of a floor. So medical recovery housing is a need for that. Like, it's a great need for that in my area. I can say that for a fact. Now, as some of you know, I got myself a government contract earlier this year. And once you get a government contract, you go to sam.gov and you fill it out. It does take a long time to fill it out, like over an hour. And then they want you to do other hoops, so it can take a little bit longer than an hour. It could take a month. But needless to say, I have it. You can get one too. It's free to get. Once you get it, you can put in for bids, and you can also apply for certain grants that you may not be able to apply for if you don't have a government contract. So, just so that you know, in my research, what I found is that the VA contracts for veteran recovery housing, that is available. There is military medical transition facilities that are needed. However, they have not reached out to me, and I know why. It is because I don't really live close to any of the military bases. So for me, that's not going to work out. I don't know where you guys live, but if you live close to a military base, that's when the military medical transition facilities is something you might want to look into. And then also, federal employee healthcare program partnerships are available. You can partner with them if you own property. Normally, though, when you're going with the government, and you have government-funded rehabilitation programs as well, when you go on, through the government and government contracts, having just one property is not going to be enough. You really need to buy bigger, because everything with the government is in bulk. Okay, so anyway, that's basically all I have right now for you that I wanted to share to any nurse that's out there and you're like, man, I hate this job, I'm overworked, I'm over it, I'm over 50. I just can't take it no more, but I don't know what to do. Real estate might be your way out. And you don't have to do the typical, regular landlord tenant situation. Now, yes, my friend that owns 75 homes is a nurse, and she does do it the regular landlord tenant way. But she does have a few properties where it's not, just your basic landlord tenant. For example, two of her properties, she went through the Volunteers of America down in North Carolina and let them know. And they had a homeless, I forgot what the proper name for it, but they have a program to help to house homeless people. Okay. And she has her homes in that program. She said to me that they really don't do, compared to her other tenants, they really aren't really much as far as maintenance is concerned. They have not destroyed the property. Now, I can't guarantee that no one else will. And even my experience with the insurance, I can't guarantee that everything will be hunky-dory and that you won't have any problems or whatever. I can't really guarantee that, but just my personal experience, I really haven't had to do anything. They really have been great tenants. The insurance company pays me. Well, they were paying me in the beginning, but the insurance went out. Their apartment hasn't been fixed up yet, so that's why they're still here. But otherwise, yeah, they're not really a problem. So if you want to do something that's less stressful, then I think the options that I've just shared with you, I know for a fact some of them are definitely the way to go. And then the others, when I speak to those that I know who are doing it, they just feel so, yes, it's work. It doesn't seem as though they're as stressed out as when they were, in the hospital or what have you. But they just seem so overjoyed with doing what it is that they do. Okay, guys? So that's all I have for you. Please feel free to share this amongst your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.